Comic book and manga fans, this is H.H. German from Sigma Comics. I'm back again with another video. This one is a part two. I left out a bunch of things that are really compelling about Kingman because I was in a rush, but I'm back again. Don't worry. I'll fill you in on the scoop here. First, let's tell you who we are if this is the first time you've seen one of our videos. We are Sigma Comics. We are dedicated to fighting animal cruelty through comics. If you love comics and you love animals, you're going to love this series. We have the Calico. He gets intel on people who abuse and kill animals, and he goes after those a-holes with extreme justice. You're looking at our website here, sigmacomics.com, where you can get our comic books. You can get our trade paperbacks, our manga, and of course our merch. Right now, on Kickstarter, we actually have our latest trade paperback. It's called Calico Unwanted Men. Okay, it joins the first one, which you saw on a previous screen, Calico Street Math, which collects the first 8 issues of Here Comes Calico. It also joins Calico Morality Play, our second book, which collects issues 9 to 15, excuse me, 9 to 14. And now we have Calico Unwanted Men, which is available on pre-order right now. Get it before anybody else gets it, right when we get it. And all you got to do is go to Kickstarter.com and type in Calico Unwanted Men, and it'll bring up the Kickstarter page for Calico Unwanted Men, where you could download the first chapter, you could watch the trailer, and you could pre-order this great book here. All right, so let's get you back into Kingman, because I left some things out. Before I do, let's take a swig. Always good. Never disappoints. Okay. Can't believe I left this out, but you know, Kingman isn't just this this superficial character that just has Down syndrome. And by the way, let's take a step back for those of you who didn't watch the first video. Kingman is a main antagonistic character in the series Here Comes Calico. I told you about Calico. He goes after people who abuse animals. But before he was the Calico, he was a cat burglar. And he had to deal with this guy right here, Kingman. Kingman, on the surface, is a pawn shop owner. And let me be clear, pawn, that's P-A-W-N. Okay, a pawn shop owner. And in Woodlawn, in the Bronx, which is a predominantly Irish area. And of course, in fact, he truly is one of the most dangerous gangsters in the entire city. The pawn store is really just the front. It's where he basically spends his days. But in the basement of the pawn store, that's where he conducts his operations. And his entire staff is comprised of people with Down syndrome. Okay, these are very dangerous individuals, all of which are equipped with handguns. And they go out and they take care of business just like any other gangsters would. And their physical issue in no way stops them from conducting business in the mean streets of New York City. And of course, the mastermind behind it is the man you see here on your screen, Kingman. He is one bad mofo, absolutely. So let's tell you a little bit more about him, things that I left out. Kingman is the son of a former kingpin in New York City, the $1 boss. Okay, the $1 boss was out there doing some really bad things, again, with his own crew. Really one of the most dangerous people in the city, with a penthouse apartment there in Midtown. But he had his fingers on pretty much everything in the city. I don't want to give you any spoilers here, but all I will tell you is that Kingman is the son of this individual, and that's the guy's name, the $1 boss. And he gets that name for a really important reason, and it's one that comes to the very deep chagrin of Kingman here. I'm not going to reveal that because it is a central part of the first story, Calico Street Math. But he basically grows up resenting his condition. And not only that, but how he is treated as a result of having Down syndrome. to the point where, he's basically in his middle ages now, in his 50s, where he very much is living his life with a lot of anger, extreme anger toward humanity. Okay, people who do not have Down syndrome. Okay, very specifically, people who do not have Down syndrome. Kingman hates those people. All right, he basically considers people with Down syndrome normal, and people who do not have Down syndrome, he considers them to be garbage and in need of killing. So that's a very important tidbit there that I left out of the previous video, because that certainly puts him firmly in the villain category. He wants everybody dead, and that by everybody, it's people who do not have Down syndrome. If it were up to Kingman, everybody without Down syndrome would be dead, and only people with Down syndrome would be living in society today, because he thinks people to be disgusting, evil creatures, and that's why he only wants people with Down syndrome. He only employs people with Down syndrome around him, and he barely tolerates people who do not have Down syndrome. So that is a very important part of this character that I left out in the previous video, and that's really what makes him a really compelling character, because you could imagine the psyche of someone who lives their life with that mindset. Okay, and mind you, again, this is a gangster we're dealing with here, so it only further confirms the rationale for making him, a gangster, and not only just a gangster, but one of the most dangerous ones in the city. Okay, and if you have not read any of the Here Comes Calico books or any of the Calico trade paperbacks, this is to tell you that you're missing out on not only a great series, but some really great characters with texture. And of course, here's an excellent example of one of them, Kingman. Okay, a guy who's walking around with Down syndrome, who's also one of the most dangerous gangsters in all of the city. So imagine those interactions, the experiences he gets into in this series. Folks, I'm telling you, if you're a fan of comics, especially characters, or excuse me, comics that are set in the gritty city, characters, anti-heroes like Batman, Daredevil, or the Punisher. If you are fans of those comic books, you're really going to love this series. And if you don't read comics, and but you also love movies such as Death Wish, okay, starring Charles Bronson, where he assumes the character of Paul Kersey, seeking vengeance in the streets of New York City. You're really going to love the Calico series. Calico goes after people who abuse and kill animals, and once he gets his hands on them, sayonara. You're really going to love this series. I really think you should pick it up. If you're a fan of the movie The Warriors, late 70s, you're really going to love this series. It really takes you into the mean streets of the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Manhattan, all across the city, with these really textured characters, which again, if you like any of those titles that I mentioned, you're really going to love this series. So anyway, I just wanted to add an extra layer to the previous video that I created, because I did leave that out. I didn't focus on that to the extent that Kingman really despises people. He truly does hate people. And that's the interesting juxtaposition with Hector Gil the Calico. Calico does not trust people. He's not a fan. Calico does not like people. In fact, he loves animals and he mistrusts people. But he certainly does not hate people, and most certainly not to the extent that Kingman does. And I think that's really the interesting relationship between Hector Gil and Kingman here, because neither of them like people, but one of them really hates people. And it shows in his actions and his behaviors. Anyway, I will leave it there. And just to remind you once again that we do have our latest book, Calico Unwanted Men. You really need to head over to Kickstarter, type in Calico Unwanted Men, hit that button, hit that pledge button, or back this campaign. and pick yourself up some Calico. You can get this book or the previous books in the series, whatever you want to do. And if you do, you're going to get stickers, you're going to get posters, you're going to get all these great things that come with Kickstarter campaigns. Anyway, that's it. Remember what I always tell you, keep on fighting for animals.